feels so darn surreal covering this White House on a daily basis. It's Alice in Wonderland stuff. Sometimes 1984 stuff, Anderson, when you hear the White House asking for apologies when the president owes more than just about anybody in this country.
Jim Acosta from the White House. Jim, thanks very much. Two views now, differing views. Joining us, Democratic strategist Simone Sanders, who served as press secretary on the Bernie Sanders campaign, and former Trump campaign aide Michael Caputo. So, Simone, I mean, the president didn't denounce Roseanne Barr's racism, did go after the head of ABC's parent company for apologizing to Valerie Jarrett and not to the president. Does that make sense to you?
Anderson. No, absolutely it doesn't make sense, but not much that this White House does make sense. What I will say is this. I find it very striking that the president chose to, in fact, speak out about Roseanne and tweet about Roseanne and not tweet about the Americans, the 4,600 Americans plus Americans whose lives were, in fact, lost due to Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. And so what I see here is that the president is clearly more concerned about himself than he is anything and anyone else. And where this could have been a moment where the White House could have really got a win on this, they botched it. And so all these unforced errors, we are now talking about the president's inability to have compassion and empathy and condemn something that is clearly wrong. And it's also telling that Sarah Huckabee Sanders today just chose to elaborate and defend the president's comments when they have been very much so silent on so much more.
Michael, I know on Twitter you went as far as to offer Roseanne a spot on a new streaming platform that you've launched. Can you explain why you think it would be wise to be in business with her at this point, and do you think the president missed an opportunity here?
First of all, on the president, I think the president was trying to put his 2 cents in about why a lot of his supporters believe that Roseanne Barr was not given the same treatment that people on the other side of the aisle have been. Like what we went through them before with Ms. Sanders, but I don't think that he really is in a spot right now to talk about this. I gotta believe that none of us liked or appreciated what Roseanne Barr did. It's a horrible mistake, and I think people view it as, I mean, this whole thing about gorillas, it's a trope. It's been around for a long time. It's a racist trope, okay. And I've seen people taken down by this in the past. I've worked with executives in my communications consultant capacity, especially with actually a local comedian and television personality who did something here in Buffalo very similar. And 3 years later, his career has not recovered. And my question is, if Roseanne is sorry and she's making sounds like she is sorry, she's talking, I believe, to her staff that she really let down 100+ people who are now out of a job. If she makes amends for this with her community, with her family, with her friends, with her staff,
I've got to jump in here.
I think she needs to get back to work.
Okay, you're saying she should be given another chance, Simone, should she?
Right, as long as she makes amends for this.
Right.
Roseanne hasn't tried to make amends. Guess what? Today she blamed her racism on Ambien, said the Ambien made me do it. She also apologized yesterday, quote unquote apology, and said it was, I was sorry for my joke. So I do not think that Roseanne is in fact sorry. But furthermore, this is who Roseanne actually is. This wasn't the first time she tweeted something that was racist. This is not the first time she's had problematic remarks. ABC even noted themselves that this was the third or fourth time, and this was just the straw that broke the camel's back for them, on Roseanne being offensive. And so there's freedom of speech in this country, but you don't have freedom from consequences of your speech. And what Roseanne is being met with, and many other people will be met with actually, if they have public platforms and they decide to speak in this manner, are in fact consequences. And the last thing that I'll say about President Trump putting in his 2 cents, the day that President Trump called Roseanne after her show aired was also in the aftermath of Stephon Clark's shooting, if you will. And the White House said that this was a local matter and they couldn't comment on it. But again, the president had time to comment on Roseanne then, and he had time to comment on Roseanne now. It demonstrates what the president thinks is important and who he is talking to. He is the president of all people. And damn it, I wish he would start acting like it.
Right, I understand that. We all know that Roseanne and the president have been friends for a lot of years. That phone call came after her show started, came from a lot of history between the two of them. And my question, I guess, is when someone makes a mistake like this, I obviously, and I think everybody agrees that what she said was was reprehensible. But I don't think this is what comes from Roseanne's heart. I don't know her, but the people I've worked with in the past who have made these.
But Michael,
do you mind if I continue, Simone?
Wait, hold.
I'm sorry.
Michael,
I'm sorry.
Michael, I do want you to continue, but the number
At
of
what point
tweets
can
she
I
has
continue?
sent, the number of tweets she has sent about 9/11 conspiracy theories. She did make a
Understood.
racist remark
Somehow or
about
another
Susan
that
Rice
didn't bother
years ago.
ABC.
Go ahead.
All right, I understand, but if I can get through this before I'm interrupted again, this is not, this ABC has not had a problem with this in the past. Jeez, can I continue?
No, you're right.
please?
You're right. Go ahead.
Okay, ABC has not had a problem with this in the past, and I understand that these kind of comments set people off. But I wonder, is my friend who's the comedian and television personality here in Buffalo, is 3 years long enough for him to be in Siberia? At what point in time do you think Roseanne Barr can go back to work? I don't think it's up to Hollywood executives. I don't think it's up to you, Simone. I think it's up to her fans. And that's why we invited her to join the Bond.PM platform, because it cuts out the Hollywood moguls who make these decisions. She needs to make this right. She made a big mistake. But it's not up to anyone but her fans as to how long she has to stay in Siberia.
Simone, can she come back? Should she be able to?
Look, I think any network that allows Roseanne back onto the air is saying that they are absolutely okay with whom she has shown herself to be over a number of years. That's right. This wasn't just one tweet. This is who Roseanne is. And the one part that I agree with is that ABC knew about all of this and let her have a show anyway, because they thought that the show would then temper her outbursts, if you will, on Twitter. So again, if a network wants to put Roseanne back on their network, that will be on them. That will be on those advertisers that decide to side with bigotry, Islamophobia, racism, and sexism. And I just want to defend why I laughed, because I think it's laughable to assert that this isn't who Roseanne is. This is who Roseanne has always been. She's told us who she was.
So I didn't know you knew her so well, Simone. I didn't know that.
Roseanne, I just want to know, Roseanne.
I don't know her. I can't
defend
defend her or insult her.
All right.
But
I can tell you this.
Her.
Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, wait. Are we now interrupting people? Because you just said, please don't interrupt me. You sounded so offended. So I just want to know what's happening.
I appreciate both your perspectives. Simone Sanders, Michael Caputo, thanks very much. Coming up, Roseanne Barr's ex-husband, Tom Arnold, joins us for his first TV interview. He, of course, has insight into her behavior, and there's also a connection to the president we'll talk about. Also ahead, breaking news from the New York Times about a memo former acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe wrote about the firing of James Comey and what the president said at the time.
Anderson Cooper 3.